What's up, Eagles Nation? What's going on, NFL world? How you doing, Division Rivals? This is Steven Hyder with Gate City Sports Channel, the sports channel where the cerebral NFL fan comes for about 10 minutes of daily content. All right, guys, today's topic, I'm going to bring you a draft profile. This is a player that, hey, man, I got to be honest with you. I low-key think that this guy could potentially be a pretty good quarterback in the league. This is not going to be today's topic, guys. I'm not going over one of the big names. This is a guy that, in my opinion, is going to be fourth round to seventh round. And I personally, even I wouldn't, as much as I like him, I wouldn't touch him before the fifth round. And I would probably shoot more towards the sixth or seventh round for him. It just depends on how the league sees him. He could be a guy you have to go up a little earlier than you want to go get. But I think he's a scheme fit. And I want to go over this. The player I'm talking about today, guys, is Brady White, quarterback, Memphis University. In doing my research, I found out, to me, it looks like he redshirted a year when he was at Arizona State. Got in a couple of games his redshirt freshman year, then decided to transfer to Memphis. The reason I'm bringing this all up to you guys is that as I was doing my research, I found out that this is not a 21, 22-year-old quarterback you would be bringing in, right? Look, this is not a guy I'm suggesting is going to compete and start year one. Like, that's not going to happen. Like, this is definitely a long play guy, right? Think of Josh McDaniels and Bill Belichick style of, like, this guy comes in for a couple of games for you and shines two or three times over the course of his time with your organization, and then you could flip him for a team that desperately needs quarterback play. I think he's one of those type of guys. He's those long-term developmental pieces. Guys, he's 25. So, or at least he'll be 25 by the time the season starts. This is a young guy, but he's not like a 21, 22-year-old. That was the first thing that popped off the page to me. All right, guys, getting into some of the advanced analytics that stood out to me, guys, per PFF, Pro Football Focus, guys. What I noticed is when I looked at his time to throw, right? So I went through and I was like looking at all the players, like their time to throw rates. And when I came across Brady White, I noticed this guy had a 2.4 time to throw. And I was like, whoa, that pops off the chart to me, right? I expected that kind of number from a Trevor Lawrence. I expected that kind of number from a Mac Jones. This guy got the ball out of his hands faster than Mac Jones did, guys. So, I mean, I was like, okay. Even his in-pocket number, so the amount of time he was in pocket in total, it was only 2.56 seconds, guys, which was still one of the best in this class. It still was pretty much third out of the guys I measured. Basically, Trevor Lawrence being first, Mac Jones being second if you looked at in pocket, and then Brady White was third. Guys, he gets the ball out of his hands fast. That's what I'm alluding to here. It's just kind of continuing along this thought process, guys, and where this young man stands. When I looked at amount of passes attempted, under 2.5 seconds, okay? On the year, he had 284 passes under 2.5 seconds. That accounted for 60.8%, roughly 61% of his passes on the season. The kid gets the ball out. We can see that, right? When I looked at passes above 2.5 seconds, he threw 183 on the year. That accounted for 39.2. Let's just tie this up in a neat bow and just say 60-40. 60% of the time, he's getting the ball out of his hands very quickly. And that is very evident from when you watch film of this young man that he does not sit back there and he doesn't lollygag with it. But I think what's more impressive about Brady White is his average depth of target. He wasn't checking it down, guys. His average depth of target was 10.4 yards. Guys, that's impressive. There's something to this kid, okay? Now, I will tell you this. Don't become like, oh, man, like, yeah, got to go get this guy right now. Like, there's concerns, guys. I mean, the reason I'm telling you this is a deep draft guy, a guy that you bring in as a backup, a guy that you develop over the long term that might potentially be something for you, is because when they looked at some of the risk factors on him, I'll tell you right now, his turnover-worthy passes was the highest of all the guys I looked at, meaning he's a risk taker. He doesn't get caught when he does it, but, bro, he had a 3.8% turnover-worthy pass rate. That's high, guys. Like, it's really high. And I'll give you an example right here of a clip right here where you can see that there's just, I don't know what I'll say other than there's no need to throw that pass. And then as I was even breaking down his film further, I saw another one to where it's a really good ball. He throws the ball in the exact location, like that you have to put it up there for your guy to go get it. But I'm going to tell you right now, man, with that, you can see that kind of that linebacker kind of trailing back into the play here with he's got the corner that was above him. He's playing the leverage. He puts the ball exactly where it needs to be. That's still very much a turnover-worthy pass he got away with there because of great ball location from him. But those things are on there. I'll tell you, the game I went to go break down, guys, was UCF. And the reason I broke it down is he had 50 attempts in that game. I'm not going to spend 4 or 5 games breaking down a guy that I think is a 5th rounder or later. I don't think it's worth that kind of, time and attention. But I wanted to get, the best light of, okay, give me a game where I can see him throwing the ball a lot. Let me see what he does. It was a comeback victory. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to say the only reason that Memphis was able to come back and beat UCF was because of Brady White, but he was by far the most significant of the reasons why they were. And when I'm looking at footwork, guys, without being able to see an all 22 angle, it's really, really difficult to see footwork. But what I can tell you is that there was one example where I had a really good clean shot of him, and I thought his footwork was really good. I will say that if you want to nitpick him, you can say that when he hitches there, he gets a little heel clicky. He brings those feet kind of together for a second, but then by the time he gets around to actually throwing the ball, coming off the hitch, he's got a good solid base there, good ball placement, great ball location. To be honest with you, I thought he did a really good job, man. I mean, I think that he does a pretty good job of getting his feet right. The other thing that stood out to me was this guy's ability to sense pressure and elude it. This is not an overly athletic guy. As a matter of fact, there were some times where he was moving around and rolling around the pocket that I don't think that his athleticism was the greatest in terms of that. Like in terms of like being a Patrick Mahomes, he's got the spirit, the fighting spirit of a Patrick Mahomes. He just isn't quite that physical capability yet of a Patrick Mahomes. Maybe he'll, but he's already 25, so I don't know how much that's going to develop any further. But I can see that he had a little struggle there, but he works the pocket well. See, that's where people get confused is that there's different levels of athleticism. This guy senses pressure fairly well. And you can see that on the year because he was only sacked 19 times on the year. Anytime you're below 20 sacks on the year, it's pretty good. I mean, it's a pretty good, rate. So you can see a couple plays here where he's eluding, he's moving the pocket, he's got a good feel for it. I mean, he's out there jumping over offensive linemen and completing passes, guys. I thought he did a good job. I will say there were times where I thought he should have made the decision to become a runner a little faster than he did. There were a couple times where I was like, come on, man, you cannot wait almost 5 seconds to make the decision to run. And on the year, his average time to run was like 4.61. That's how long it took him. But I will tell you, though, he had the misfortune of having the fastest sack time. So his average time to sack was only 3.21 seconds, so he did not have line help, guys. And you can see it here. That's why I'm so high on this kid, because I thought he played really well despite all that. Now, I will say is that there are times he makes foolish plays as a runner to where it's like, dude, slide. What are you doing? Or go ahead. What are you doing? Like, you can't. Don't try to lower your shoulder. You're not built that way, man. You're not a 240, 250-pound running back. You cannot try to lower your shoulder and get in there. That's not going to work. But he was a functional athlete. He made athletic plays, and I'll give him credit for that. I think that he's a better athlete than what a lot of people, give him credit for. What I will say is that he has a nice, accurate touch. You can see some things where he's throwing like the fade ball, where it's just a really well-placed ball. He's got a very catchable ball that comes out of his hands. He's able to, what they call this, guys, is like, it's layering your passes. It means that you can put something on it when you need to. You can take it off when you need to. You're making sure the ball's very catchable for your wide receivers to pull in. I thought he did a really good job of layering his passes. I mean, look, this guy is not, look, if you're looking at athletes, this is not a Zach Wilson level athlete. This is not a Justin Fields level athlete. This is not a Trey Lance level athlete. He's a better athlete than Mac Jones, though, right? He's quick processing the ball like Mac Jones. But I will tell you this, Mac Jones does not put himself in turnover-worthy, passes as often as like a Brady White does. But he's got a lot of those, like he's like maybe a tier just under a Zach Wilson in terms of the mobility and the way he works the pocket. He doesn't have Zach Wilson's arm, but it's an adequate arm. His arm strength is relatively similar to Mac Jones, maybe slightly better than Mac Jones. It's really hard to say without seeing the measurements on the velocity, guys. And I'll be honest with you, this is a guy that, deep rounder, deep draft guy, I'm all in on, guys. Like, hey, I mean, you got to be, honest to what you're going to get late in those rounds. I think this is a guy, when you looked at the depth of his targets, when you looked at, the quickness and the suddenness that he's getting the ball out of his hands, the fact that he's playing with guys that, are going to be these type of running back target guys that make sense in a Nick Sirianni type scheme. If you're an Eagles fan, like, it makes sense. If you're not, I mean, if you're looking, just Indianapolis has this type of system, like guys that where they're going to target tight ends, running backs, and you're going to get a lot of those timing and rhythm routes, right? Slants. He throws a lot of slants. I saw a lot of like curls and button hooks and stuff like that, like out routes. He's going to do that. Then they mix it in with a little bit of a fade here and there and stuff like that, guys. Hey, I liked what I saw from this kid. Quick, fast processor. He's definitely a risk taker, and he's got to be better at the NFL level because he's not going to get away with some of these passes on the next level. But quick processor. throws a nice catchable ball. He's a functional athlete. And he's just got to get a little better, man. He's got to get a little better at judging when to make those shots, when to take those chances. And that's what I saw from him. All right, guys. Don't forget, if you want to support the channel, you can buy me a cup of coffee. The link is down in the description below. Don't forget to like, comment. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, guys. It is greatly appreciated. It helps out a lot. I'm going to be breaking down a lot more of these quarterbacks, guys. I'm going to be varying between the top prospects. I'm going to be varying between the guys I think are more third and fourth round guys, and then these deep guys. Like, this guy could, I mean, look, Brady White could go as high as the fourth round. I don't know, but I'm going to guess 5th through 7th coming. All right, y'all. Peace. I'm out of here. See y'all in the next video.